Hello everyone, my name is Mas Rasya Cahya Pratama Shamsunarno, and hopefully today in under 6 minutes I can make sure that all of you here will be looking forward to failing. You may think I'm crazy here, but I am a little bit though, but hear me out for a bit. When you think of someone who's great, you might think of them as someone who's perfect in every way, and they just never fail at anything they do. Not only that's unrealistic, but that's also wrong, terribly wrong. And here's why. And look, I'm not saying I'm one of those great people, hopefully I will be, but I learned this lesson the hard way. You see, I dabble in a little bit of martial arts, specifically Taekwondo. And since the restart of my career a year ago, I've been in a grand total been competing in a grand total of 3 province level tournaments. The first one I was in August 2024. After a little bit of fun, so I thought why not I enter it, and unsurprisingly, I got my butt kicked. Really bad actually. Like the guy was kicking my head all over the place, and I fell a few times. It was just horrible for me. Of course, it can be maybe able to be tolerated because no one expects you to win the first tournament that you compete in. So I trained again, and I competed in another tournament this year in February 2025. I competed in it, and unfortunately, after all of my hard work and training, I got absolutely demolished, both mentally and physically. You know what I thought? I thought like, why can't I ever be enough? And I felt like I was never going to improve. But after a lot of frustrating nights and a little bit of parental encouragement, I started to see that great people often fail very often. Like more often than we thought. They're just people like us that didn't know when to quit, and they're stubborn, very stubborn. They don't shrink from failure. They actually grow from it, learn from it, and they treat it as another step in the proverbial ladder towards greatness. What do you actually gain from it, though? Thank you for asking. Now, you gain a lot of things from failure, which people tend to overlook. Some of those things are information and experience. Both of those are different things, and they serve different purposes. Like information is something that you can write on paper and is relatively easy to understand, whereas experience is something you gain from living through it, and you really can gain it from reading books. Let me put it this way: when you try to swim after reading a book about it, would you get far? Probably not, and you would probably die trying. And speaking of swimming, I did a little bit of swimming also, a few months to be exact. It started off pretty nice it was pretty nice for a time, but over time I realized that it did more harm to me than good. So I quit. Okay, you may call me quitter, which I've been called worse, but that's, like it or not, that's called self-understanding. Self-understanding allows me to be able to stop investing in something that I don't enjoy doing and be able to redirect it into something that I actually enjoy doing, to be able to grow in that thing. How does it do that? So self-understanding allows us to identify what we can or can't do, and what we like or what we don't like doing. Looping back to my first story, after those 2 horrible failures, I started to see into the future, not literally, figuratively. I started looking forward to the future, and I stopped regretting my past. I started to train smarter. Started to train harder, and it worked. Because you know what happened? This year, in August 2nd, I finally won my first Taekwondo tournament. I got gold, and it wasn't even close. This proves that growth is real, and how you perceive failure as one of the crucial points in that journey, would either dismantle the journey towards your growth, or elevate your journey towards growth. But why do this though? How and why did I do this? You're like suffering yourself. It may be suffering, but when you compare it to being comfortable, it's really worth it. You see, comfort is a trap. It's a trap where it doesn't eat you instantly. It grinds you down like acid. And when you already start to see it, it might be able to be too late. Whereas if you, at least in every attempt that you do, either it ends up in success or failure, you actually get closer towards growth. Why? How do I get through this? Keep your friends and family close, because they're the best sources of motivation you'll ever have, either directly or passively. Thank you so much, and hopefully everyone here will fail in a good way though. Thank you very much.